thought we'd talk about today a little bit is what are some of the big reasons why people feel like they're stuck? Um, or why they sometimes get in a rut where you're in a place where you know you want it to be better. And when I talk about practice growth, which is what we're talking about today, I don't just mean practice growth financially. Yes, that is a big one, and a lot of people, that is what they're striving for. But when I say practice growth, I mean growth across many fronts. It could be growth as far as your team goes and your culture goes, and maybe the communication in your practice. It could be growth of like anything to do with your practice that you wish was a level above or a level better than it is right now. We can consider that practice growth. And making more money is definitely a piece of it. But when I speak to people, what often comes up is this sense that they're not really sure what the next right step to take is. And I will say that is one of the main categories of stuckness or being stuck or not being sure what to do next is this overwhelming sense or this sense that we don't really know what the next right step is. And so it feels scary or impossible to choose where to put time, energy, and money so that the practice grows in the way that we want it to grow. And I get that. Overwhelm is part of my life all the time. And I think for a lot of us it is. And when we're not sure about what to do next, we often end up in this pattern where maybe we're making like little tiny changes, but nothing is ramping forward in any big way. And I'm sure a few of you can relate to this. And what I have found to be the most successful for me is to get an outsider's perspective. Because sometimes when you're in the forest, you can't see the trees. And so there may be a very obvious place or an easy place to make some changes that will result in substantial growth for the practice in whatever area you really want growth to happen. But sometimes you need someone else's eyes on the situation to help you figure it out, if you can't figure it out yourself. If you were actually trying to figure it out yourself, here are a few tips for you. You have to get into a space where you can look at things, I would say, logically and rationally first. We're going to take emotion out of it because emotion can sway us. And so what I want you to take a look at first, if you're trying to figure out where to take action, let's use the example of a practice that's bringing in, let's say, $1.5 million a year. You'd really love to be at 2 as fast as possible. And you're trying to figure out where is the best investment of my time, energy, and money to make that leap. The first thing I think everyone should do is a deep, serious analysis of where you are right now. How are your current systems and processes working from first point of contact all the way through to follow-up? And are there any places where you can make some changes now to increase the chances that you're being successful in your current processes before you simply try to bring more new patients in? The reason I say that, if you don't have systems and processes and training and all of that stuff set up in a way that's working really, really well now, by simply increasing how many new patients come in, you're making your problems worse, not better. Because anything that's broken will now be even more broken if you just add more new patients to the mix. So we need to first make sure that everything within the practice that we are currently doing is happening the way that we want it to. So we fix internal systems, leaky buckets, leaky pipelines, all of that stuff first. And then we can decide where do we invest time, energy, and or money to increase the new patient flow or turn on the new patient faucet. You probably heard me talk about that before. Where I suggest you spend your time first is on the first part of the new patient funnel, meaning if someone were to find you on Google or be referred to you or hear about you from a friend or family, and they call your office or text your office or email your office, whatever the most common first point of contact is, how likely is it that they're going to be successful getting into your calendar in a way that has them feeling really good about everything before they show up for that first visit? Meaning when they call the office, are all of your phone calls getting answered by the third ring? If they do get someone on the phone, how likely is it that a new patient call turns into a booked appointment? If you're looking at those two things and it's not where you think it should be, you need to work on those things first. So I say look at the beginning of the funnel, and then as you work your way through the system of how they work their way through your practice, and you end with like, what is the follow-up that happens after a new patient exam? How many times do you reach out? How do you reach out to people? How are you staying in touch? How are you providing education? All of those things. Start to fix that pipeline first. And then you can go ahead and start looking at all of the fun, like I love marketing, super fun stuff you can do after that to bring more new people or attract more of your ideal patient to the practice. Okay. That would be my advice if you wanted to sit down and try to do a little analysis yourself to make a decision about where to put time or energy or money or all of those things in order to get the practice running in the way that you want it to run. I have another potential solution for you. Any of you who follow me on Instagram might have heard me speaking about this a little bit. Of all the conversations I have with all of you amazing women, what often comes up is this idea of like, where do I put my energy first? Because it feels like there are a handful of things that aren't going exactly the way I want, and I really don't know where to start. And what I said at the beginning is that sometimes having someone else's eyeballs on the problem, or at least someone to spitball with, really makes a difference in being able to take meaningful action quickly to fix the things that are either broken or that need to be better. And one of the things that I just recently started offering that I hope is going to be super fun for some of you is something called the 5-day Dental Diva Challenge. And it's a practice growth challenge. And like I said, growth can mean any number of things. So this is very individualized. There's no like cookie cutter to this. It's whatever that person needs. And what it is it's 30 minutes, that's it. 5 30-minute one-on-one sessions with me where we identify what's going on in the practice and then come up with a plan so that you can pull the trigger on some really awesome action in a way that makes sense for your goals, values, and priorities. There is no obligation to do anything else with me. This is free, like 100% free. And the reason it's free is because I want to see how valuable something like that, like a little burst of attention with another person is for you, because eventually this challenge is going to be paid. And I really hope I can do it in like a group format at some point so that we can do a whole bunch of practices all at once, because we all learn from each other when like we get groups. But for now, I just really want to do one-on-one and fine tune this process to see if in 5 30-minute sessions, we can get you to a place where you're like, yes, I know what to do next. I know what steps to take, and I feel good about the progress I'm going to make in that direction. It's about getting you some clarity, some focus, and some like key items you can start to work on right away. Because otherwise it often feels like everything, like this giant tsunami of potential things that you could be doing or spending your time on, or all these items you're putting fires out, that you just can't get to the thing that's going to be the practice growth thing, the thing that is going to move the needle, that's going to make you feel good about the practice you work in and then how that practice is doing. So your success within the practice. For some people, when we talk about practice growth, it's actually not about the growth of the practice at all. It's actually about either the growth of yourself or finding balance between your personal life and your work life. And like I said, the challenge is sort of meant to help you identify a key area you want improvement on, and then to help you like take some steps forward, because you get someone else's eyeballs to help you see it better and then come up with a good solution, or at least a good couple first steps. And so because all of you guys are kind enough to be in this lovely Facebook group that I started, I thought I would offer the challenge in the group. I only have 3 spots because this takes up quite a bit of my time. And as you all know, I work full-time still as an orthodontist. And so I've got a link. I'm going to put a link in the first comment to sign up for the challenge. And the first 3 people who sign up, I'm going to then start a wait list, because that'll depend how long it takes to get through those 3 people. And then I can open up spots after that. So it'll be a first come, first serve kind of deal. And like I said, what it is just 5 30-minute sessions. They can either be on Zoom if you like to be face-to-face, or it can just be a phone call if you'd rather not stare at me while we have a conversation. And there's no obligation. I know you all know that I have paid programs and things you can do with me, but that's not always for everybody. This is open to anyone who's in a situation in a practice where they have power to make change. So for some associates, this may be you, but for a lot of you, it might not. So this may be more owner focused, but you have to have the power to make change and make decisions. And for those people, this 5-day Dental Diva Practice Growth Challenge is open for you if you want to do it. So like I said, 3 spots available. The link is going to be in the first comment here somewhere, so that if you want to click on it, it just takes you to a page that gives you some more information about it. And then if you want to join, it just takes you to a link to schedule the first session, like in my Calendly calendar, so we can schedule that first 30 minutes together. And then you'll get an email from me that just tells you a little bit about what we're going to do. To be completely transparent, the only thing I ask from you, if you do this fun 5-day challenge with me, is that you give me a testimonial at the end. that you let me know if it was helpful, what you got out of it, if you learned anything, if you feel better about the future, any of those things. That is the only thing I ask. That's it. Otherwise, you get 5 free sessions with me to like powwow through whatever it is that you think you want to work on. And even if it's vague, you're not really sure, I'll help you nail it down. One of my very favorite things is problem solving. And every time that I have a big problem, or I'm trying to make big goals, or I'm trying to make big decisions, bouncing it off of someone else, always better than just mucking around up here and letting it swirl in my head the entire time. If you have questions about the challenge or you want to know more, you can send me a DM or comment something below too. I'm happy to chat about it. But that's what I see as the biggest reason that people are stuck or their practice is not growing in the way that they wish, in the way they desire, is that they just don't know which actions to take in which order to get there. And none of it is rocket science, and none of it is magic, and none of it is luck. I mean, there's the occasional person who maybe gets lucky because they're in like an area with zero competition, but that's almost nowhere these days. There are proven things that work for everybody, and sometimes it's just about identifying where your biggest opportunity is so that you can jump on that. So if you want to take advantage of that, let me know. If there is something specific you want to chat with me about your practice, or you want me to talk about in the group, please tell me. Honestly, I want to talk about anything. The more things that you guys want to hear about, that you let me know that I talk about, that will help other people too. Everybody's having the same challenges. When we meet next week, so next Wednesday I'll be on here, we're going to talk a little bit about hiring, because we've been doing a whole lot of that at our office later, and so we're going to focus on team and hiring and firing a little bit next week. So I will see you then. Have a good one.